Hey guys, so before we actually get to the chart on screen, I just want to remind everybody that last year, the best-selling vehicle of any kind in China was Tesla's Model Y, despite an average selling price of 2 to 3, and I mean that literally 2 to 3 times as much as a typical electric vehicle from a company like BYD. China is the world's largest and most important automotive market, but you already knew that, right? However, on screen now, we're currently looking at US electric vehicle sales in June 2024, the most recent available data. Tesla accounting for almost 60% of all electric vehicles sold in the month of June in the United States. So why am I talking about vehicle sales after all? That's last decade's news, right? Tesla's already won the decade. They're in a dominant position. It's just a matter of watching that play out. We see this on screen and the early dominance I mentioned about Tesla sales in China, which, I mean, it's stunning that Tesla has the number one selling vehicle in a foreign country with a huge amount of local competition and much more affordable options. I mean, think about how insane that is. But if Tesla's this dominant in the, quote, vehicle business, admittedly they are producing computers on wheels, could this be a possible insight into how dominant they may be when it comes to autonomy? It's worth reminding you, or telling you if you're unaware, that at this point in time, let me just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I mean, technically there's 11 plus a bunch of others as rest, but we'll just say there's 12. Of the 12 plus companies here selling less vehicles combined than Tesla is in the United States, electric vehicles, I've just got to run through and say yes or no as to whether or not they're actually making a profit selling these electric vehicles. Toyota, no. Volkswagen, no. Mercedes, no. Cadillac, no. Nissan, no. BMW, no. Chevrolet, no. Hyundai, no. Rivian, no. Kia, no. Ford, no. The rest, no. None of these companies are even making money selling their piss poor little slice of the US electric vehicle market. They're not making money, none of them. Zero. And in China, the companies that are have very thin profit margins relative to Tesla. So Tesla's got the best-selling vehicle in China that's electric, or any form. Doesn't matter what propulsion. Literally the best-selling vehicle. And they're actually making a good profit on it versus most other companies. The second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, etc. best-selling vehicle, barely making any money. If that, some of them are losing money. In the US, nobody's selling electric vehicles other than Tesla's actually making a cent. They're all losing staggering amounts of money. In other words, Tesla not only is selling the most vehicles in China and the US and everywhere, world's best-selling vehicle, by the way, last year. Also Model Y, not just in China, world's best-selling vehicle. So they're making the profits, all the profits, and most other companies aren't making any profit. And they're also selling more units. Talk about total domination. Back to autonomy. I have a hypothesis, and I'm not the only one, that Tesla has an unassailable data lead when it comes to autonomy, and there'd be no companies out there that are going to catch up. They also obviously have a huge first-mover advantage. People will be stunned, I believe, at how quickly Tesla robotaxis awaken one by one, city after city, state after state, country after country, when Tesla themselves decide they're comfortable with the safety profile. It's not going to be regulators holding Tesla up. It's going to be Tesla holding themselves up. But you know what? Let's wait until it's 2x safer, 3x, whatever it is, right? Here's what I predict. When Tesla first comes knocking on a regulator's door and goes, hey guys, can you please look at this data? We'd like this shit approved. Thanks, bitch. What's going to happen is the regulator's going to look at that and go, fuck me. How many times safer than humans? Okay, approved. Done. It's not going to be Tesla going, hey guys, please can you approve this thing? Here's the data. And the regulators go, that's not even as safe as a human. Fuck off. Tesla don't want the bad press, and they don't want to cause injuries and accidents that are avoidable. But once Tesla themselves are comfortable, the safety profile of their vehicles on FSD is meaningfully higher in pocket A, B, and C of the United States, most likely California first, and then other parts of the world. They're going to be kicking down regulators' doors, and regulators will have no choice but to approve the software. Tesla, I believe, will have a much higher threshold for safety than regulators themselves. Now, why would I say that? Well, safety is literally Tesla's number one design priority when producing vehicles. And they don't just say this. I mean, hello, world's safest vehicles ever tested, all Teslas. They really mean it. Safety first. So much like Tesla, having a massive first mover advantage with electric vehicles has not only seen them dominate market share everywhere, but take the vast majority of the profits in the marketplace as well. The same, I believe, is likely to be true for autonomy. And I'm not the only one. By the way, just a quick side note, in my opinion, solving autonomy, a generalized solution that can scale widely, that challenge versus profitably producing electric vehicles at scale, I don't know, probably like an order of magnitude harder. Just wanted to remind you folks from ARK's 2029 Tesla fair valuation, $2,600 per share, quite away from where we are today. Quote, ARK estimates that nearly 90% of Tesla's enterprise value and earnings, as in profits, will be attributed to the robotaxi business in 2029. Meanwhile, electric vehicles, which as we saw, Tesla already dominating to an embarrassing degree if you're not Tesla, electric vehicles that they're dominating could approximate a quarter of total sales and around 10% of Tesla's earnings potential as we believe the robotaxi business will have much higher profit margins. And the chart below breaks down the attributable revenue, EBITDA, e.g. earnings, and enterprise value by business line. Electric vehicles in purple, robotaxi in green. On the left, we've got revenue, earnings in the middle, enterprise value is in market capitalization, basically, on the right. I still today just don't think most investors believe this is going to happen. I don't think most investors are going to be able to wrap their heads around this potential until it happens. Just like people in the mid to late 90s actually talking about the potential of the internet, it's getting laughed out of the room. And now most people watching spend the whole fucking day on the internet. Not actually, but close to it. I know it's getting a bit meta, but imagine it's 1999 and you're trying to explain to somebody that in the future there will be people like the guy you're listening to right now earning a full-time income and then some, creating content on the internet that many tens of thousands of people are interested in watching on the narrowest of narrow subjects. It's just wild. No one would have believed it. Yet here we are. Next time you hear somebody suggest that ARK's research around Tesla and autonomy is ridiculous, it'll never happen, they must be high, and so on, or that the competition's coming, or that the valuation couldn't possibly be $2,600 a share, 2029, or they couldn't possibly make this money from robotaxis, or they couldn't possibly be this dominant in autonomy because obviously the competition like Cruise and Waymo is going to catch up. I just wanted to rewind the clock a decade and bring up this all-time classic from the falsely named Logical Thought. The absolute irony, by the way, this dude is the most emotional, illogical, anti-Elon, anti-Tesla, deranged, just mentally ill Tesla short on Earth. It's just so funny. It's like a guy with a micro penis calling him like Long Dick 69. Like, bro, it's the opposite of the truth. What are you doing? Anyway, let's read this headline again. I know some of you have seen this, but it's so good to revisit. Why are projections for Tesla to sell 500,000 cars in 2020 are absurd? And by the way, fact check, despite the scamdemic, they hit the target. Now, if you're like super autistic, actually they were like literally a couple of cars short of that, but that was during the scamdemic and then were fascist shutdown. So you account for that. They hit their target 6 years away, which by the way, so this is 2014. He's talking about a target 6 years from then. You know what else is roughly 6 years from now? ARK's $2,600 per share Tesla fair valuation. All right, so let's read this incredibly embarrassing article from Illogical Thought of Standstill Capital. Summary, the sell side is forecasting that Tesla will sell 500,000 cars in 2020. If Tesla sells 35,000 cars this year, 2014, 500,000 sales in 2020 would imply a 6-year compound annual growth rate of 56%. Which, by the way, I mean, the numbers were on point. This is a staggering rate of growth, which, if Tesla were to do this, would have been a staggering opportunity. Anyone watching wish they'd owned Tesla stock in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, or 19 before they hit their target in 2020? I don't, because I was buying it then anyway. Well, technically started early 2016. No complex product manufacturer has ever grown that quickly from a revenue base of $3 billion or more. Therefore, Illogical Thought of Standstill Capital believes it can't possibly occur because it's never happened before. Like, for example, somebody solving autonomy has never happened before, therefore it can't possibly occur. You know what I mean? Yeah. Wall Street's bullish projections for Tesla show the company accelerating from selling 35,000 cars this year in 2014 to 500,000 in 2020, which imply a 6-year compound annual growth rate of approximately 55.8%. To put this number in perspective, Microsoft, a software company and thus a business with no issues in scaling production, although physical distribution and customer service were certainly issues, as they are with Tesla, Microsoft first broke $3 billion in sales in 1993, generating $3.7 billion in revenue. I'm using the $3 billion revenue base because that's analogous to where Tesla is now. 6 years later, Microsoft did $19.7 billion in revenue, which was a compound annual growth rate of 32.1%. Conclusion, by the way, I like how short this article was. His entire premise right here is that would be insanely fast growth. Here's a company that grew relatively fast that's not as fast as Tesla would have to grow to reach their goal, therefore it's not possible. Conclusion, even if Tesla were able to grow as quickly as Microsoft did in its prime, an absurd scenario for a non-monopolistic, non-software company, it would only produce 186,000 cars in 2020. By the way, a disclosure, the author is short brain cells and also Tesla stock. The author wrote this article themselves, and it expresses their extremely intense emotional opinions. The author is not receiving compensation for it, other than from Seeking Alfalfa, the website it's published on, but is likely to have his financial anus ruined if he truly is short Tesla stock. Sorry, I think I'm misreading this a little bit, but hey, whatever, we've got to keep rolling here. The author has no business relationship with any company because they think he's a fucking... with any company whose stock is mentioned in this article. No, that's right. He just has an extremely intense hatred of the man leading the company, probably because he's projecting onto Musk what he wishes he saw in himself. Oh man, there's comments. Dude, let's read the comments. It's going to be sick. I don't know. Does it say what date they are now? We're not going to know when these were, like 2014 or years later. But let's see what people had to say back then. This will be fun. Oh, this is a recent one. Well, this article is interesting. Can I find out when it was written? No. Okay. Oh, wait, I can. Okay, 2019. Great. Well, this article is interesting to look back at. Tesla achieved that greater than 55% compounded growth rate with relatively few issues and are building a second factory in China, with construction being ahead of schedule and access to cheap credit directly from Chinese government. Now the narrative is just focused on figuring out in which quarter this year Tesla will reach 500,000 vehicles a year annualized, by the way. An update, they're now roughly 2 million a year annualized. So another quadrupling almost from back then in 2019. The stock price is roughly at the same level right now as when the article was written. Oh, this is amazing, by the way. April 2019 is the comment. Say roughly here, let's call it $16, $17, $18 a share, up 11 times since. So let's see what this commenter had to say, because they're pointing out something important here. The stock's basically gone nowhere since a time when Tesla would be lucky to produce 35,000 vehicles a year, and people like Mr. Toilet Boy, if you know, you know, were saying projections for them to hit 500,000 vehicles a year in 2020 were absurd. So the stock price is roughly at the same level right now as when the article was written, due to short-term, I can't even talk, who cares, speculative trading by the street. Caveat, it was at technical resistance when this article was written and is at technical support now. Please stroke your chart harder, my friend. Moving average is high now, but the long-term growth projections that were circulated when this article was written seem to be right on the money. Tesla looks extremely attractive right now, speaking as a long-term investor. See, this guy or girl gets it. The more you zoom out from short-term issues and look at the long-term growth, the more attractive it is, especially at the current stock price. You know, that last paragraph could have been written today. Maybe one or two more comments. This is just too good. In 2016, to the author of the article, gap is not the way to assess profitability regarding viability. You ought to know that risk is inherently in any business. And if Tesla reported numbers that you were not able to criticize, can you guess what would happen next in a highly competitive market? Tesla may indeed go bankrupt. You never know. But even if they do, it seems like they've started a whole new industry and breathed life into it. Oh, here we go. We've got a reply. I hope this is to the comment we just read. Let's see. Tesla lost $18,400 per car in Q4 at an ASP near $100,000. If reduced R&D per vehicle from $14,000, which is Tesla's, to BMW's $3,000, it still lost $7,400 a car. If you eliminate all expansion capex, it still lost over $3,000 per car. You know, look, I'm just going to skip to the point here. Hi, I hate Elon Musk, and therefore I haven't even considered the fact that the cost to produce the vehicles will decline as they make more and innovate with manufacturing. So here's some numbers. Check this out. But at Musk's quoted ASP of $42,000, roughly $58,000 lower, the Model 3, by the way, which hadn't even been unveiled when this was written, it was about 2 years after, with a $5,000 cheaper battery and 1,000 fewer pounds of raw materials, blah, 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 will be hugely profitable. Right. So let me see here. $42,000. I've just done a quick inflation calculator from $2014 to $2024. Inflation adjusted, that $42,000 is actually $55,803. So riddle me this. In $2024, Tesla's actually selling Model Y, Model 3 for just over $40 and making money doing so. Yet our very intelligent friend here, super logical, thought, see what I did there, that there was absolutely no way that Tesla could be making any money selling vehicles at an even higher price point than that. Oh, this is hilarious. I'm going to end in a moment, but this is just so funny. Mark replied, and then the person who he replied to replied, basically trolling him, saying that his questions in the response weren't logical, and trolling him, saying in a logical thought. By the way, Musk is the embodiment of everything that poor logical thought wishes he was. Let's wrap up with this gem. From September 2014, it's more likely that we'll have self-driving cars that people can share by 2020 than Tesla producing 500,000 cars. So the poster here thought the idea of Tesla hitting a goal, which by the way they did achieve, was so absurd that it would be more likely that autonomy would be solved by 2020. For some reason, I feel like the same level of skepticism we were hearing back in the day about Tesla and their vehicle production goals, we're now seeing a different flavour of that same skepticism this time around autonomy. Ask yourselves the question, not people watching this channel, but the broader investment community. How many do you really think that Tesla being worth $2,600 per share 5 years from now is possible, reasonable, or realistic? And to be clear, the only way that this happens is if Tesla successfully, fairly rapidly scales their robotaxi fleet. But in my opinion, it isn't a matter of if. It's just a matter of when. Maybe a year or two late, who cares? Maybe it's 5 years late, who cares? Is it going to happen? If yes, then this Tesla currently closed at $222.86 per share. To me personally, looks like a pretty decent deal. But hey, what would I know? I'm just some guy that makes videos on the internet that people wouldn't have even imagined was possible a few decades ago. See ya. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. And I haven't missed a daily video in more than 3 years. Must be a coincidence, right? Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. But don't take my word for it. This is what viewers of the channel had to say after trying AG1. I feel like I have a lot more energy since I started on AG1. By the way, viewer, that makes 2 of us. On to the next. Just got my AG1 in the mail. Legit feeling the effects after day 3. This viewer's been taking AG1 for 8 months and says, what an investment. Another. 3 months ago, I started AG1 and have been enjoying the evenness of alertness and energy that lasts the day. I just started the wife on it too. Are you convinced yet? I mean, hey, it's worth trying, right? Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR or I can keep going. Plenty more to come. This viewer, after about a month on AG1, definitely a lack of fatigue in the afternoon. Pleasant side effect is that my coffee intake has imploded and is almost down to 0. One more? Yeah, why not? I honestly feel younger and will be continuing to use AG1. This stuff really is crazy good. I didn't think it would be, but this stuff is awesome. It really is what everyone is saying. One more? Don't mind if I do. I've just received my 3rd month supply. I've drank it every day. I have so much energy throughout most of the day. I'm productive, started a new business, started socializing, refurbished a boat. It's no coincidence. Thank you for your persistence, your integrity, and your insights. Now look, these are not my words. These are not my testimonials. This is what you guys and girls are saying. Maybe it's 100% placebo effect. But even if that's the case, I think it's money well spent. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. If you're still skeptical, hey, I don't blame you. Everyone on the planet seems to be promoting AG1 now, but guess what? They weren't nearly 3 years ago when I had this to say privately to my Patreon audience before there was a relationship, when I was asked about what I was doing for my health, energy, and so on. Just sharing my genuine, honest thoughts about a product I'd recently discovered that was at the time called Athletic Greens, now AG1. If I could only recommend one supplement to take, Athletic Greens, and I'm not getting paid to say this, Athletic Greens is a fucking game changer. I cannot believe how effective this is. No longer having a lack of energy in the afternoons. It's fucking amazing. There's only one thing to recommend seriously. Try Athletic Greens. You won't go back. So obviously, just like Elon Musk is a liar, a fraud, a con man, a scammer, a fake engineer, and Tesla's going bankrupt, you shouldn't trust that guy from about 3 years ago who, without any financial incentive, was promoting this product to his audience on Patreon when they were asking about health and what he's doing for supplements. Because obviously, there was some other reason he recommended that, obviously. Not sure what it was, but don't trust that guy. And all the testimonials, like my mental game's improved with AG1. I feel better than ever. I'm so impressed I've bought it for both my parents. I feel more focused and have better digestion. Incredible difference. No more afternoon fatigue. It's relieved gut issues. These are all just obviously fake testimonials from fake people. Right? Wrong. Just try it. Unless you hate yourself. If you hate yourself and you don't even want to risk possibly feeling better, this is not for you. But for everyone else, what's the worst that could happen? Try it for a month. See how you feel. It's a no-brainer. Just click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR. You'll get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 plus 5 travel packs. And you'll take the colossal risk that maybe you might have a similar experience to some of the people whose testimonials we've read in this video.